Welcome to Multigen Law and shut down AmericanCreditAcceptance.com. I want to talk to you for a second about the business model of American Credit Acceptance. If you've found this website and you're watching this video, the chances are high that you're a victim of their corporation and a victim of their business model. Now, I want to talk to you about repossession and garnished wages. Because if you found this website and you are a victim of American Credit Acceptance, you're probably wondering why this is happening to you. You're probably wondering how you got into this situation where your credit is about to be destroyed, your car is either taken or about to be taken, and you got duped into a deal that was unworkable. And I want to offer you some clarity regarding Jason Bynum, the CEO, George Hunter, the mitigation officers, the CFOs, and the founder, Mr. Johnson Jr., George Johnson Jr. I want to talk to you about their families and where they came from and where their wealth came from and why they built this business model and why you're in the situation that you're in. So in order to address that, we have to talk about some terms. The first term is repossession. The second term is garnished wages. We need to talk about garnished wages and repossession, and we need to cover these so that you, one, know how to protect yourself, two, you understand what you're actually experiencing. So, of course, nobody goes out and intentionally gets an illegal or fraudulent car loan. And the only way that you could end up in that situation is if you were deceived, if you weren't told the truth, and you were lied to when it came to the vehicle that you were purchasing. Now, in our other videos, we covered the fact that American Credit Acceptance has training regimes that they give to car dealerships, which train the sales managers, the salesmen, the finance managers on exactly how to dupe you into this loan. 90% of the time, all of our victims that partner with us tell us that when they went to go do the car loan, they were told that there were no other options but American Credit Acceptance. Now, the reason that this happens is that is a sales regime that American Credit Acceptance trains car dealerships to tell you, is that they take you into the dealership, you pick out a car that you want, or they offer you a car, and then they go run your credit. And when they come back after running your credit, they'll tell you there are no other options. No matter what dealership you go to, you're going to get the same deal because of credit. One of our victims, the excuse was the presidency. The sales manager literally told the victim that because of the new election that's happening, because of the state of the government, banks aren't giving loans, and American Credit Acceptance was the only option if they wanted to buy a car. And what they told the person is that they ran their loan across 13 banks. However, when we educated the victim on the truth, they checked their credit and they discovered that that month where they bought the car loan, there was only one hit on their credit, and that was, of course, American Credit Acceptance. That is a violation of truth in lending laws. That means the dealership deceived the victim, telling the victim that they ran the credit across multiple banks and all the banks said no, when in fact they did not run the credit against any bank other than American Credit Acceptance. Now, when we're talking about garnished wages and repossession, we have to discuss the fact that American Credit Acceptance is not a bank. They aren't a loan company. They are a debt company. They are a debt collector. They are legally filed as a debt collection company. They are not a loan company. They don't specialize in loans. They don't specialize in servicing loans. They don't specialize in offering loans. They're a debt collector. That is very important when you compare the differences between Wells Fargo and Chase Bank and these other corporations that don't have evil and negative intent. Those companies make profit when you pay the loan off successfully. American Credit Acceptance is a debt collector. they don't want to chase people down to pay their bills. So what American Credit Acceptance has done is they partnered with some really brilliant lawyers who taught them a methodology to cause the government to be their debt collector. What do I mean about that? That has to do with garnished wages. Now, before we dive in to the details of garnished wages and how it works in lawsuits and settlements and repossessions, let's take a few minutes and talk about George Hunter, Jason Bynum, and George Johnson Jr., the founders of this organization. Now, Jason Bynum didn't help fund this company. He's been there since day one. He was a key player since day one. Now, the family history of both Jason Bynum as well as George Hunter Jr. has to do in long histories of predatory loans. Now, there's two types of individuals in this world. There's an individual that says, I want to get rich. I want to create wealth. I want to be successful. And I want to help people get what they want in order to do that. Meaning, I want to provide a service to humanity that is positive, that helps people. And by providing a positive, helpful service, I will create wealth. That's the first kind of individual. This kind of individual was raised with ethics, with moral values, with integrity, with character, with honor. The second type of individual is a very low vibration individual. This is an individual that has a mindset that the only way to win is by screwing other people over. This type of individual is raised with the values that the only way to get ahead is by hurting other people. They're raised with the concept, philosophy, and the understanding that in order to get rich, you have to rip people off. You have to create regimes and programs and systems and run these on a mass scale where you rip a bunch of people off in order to create wealth. There's two kinds of individuals in this world that are entrepreneurs. One tries to help humanity, one tries to harm humanity. They both have the same intention, is to create wealth. Okay? So what's happened to you if you're a victim of American Credit Acceptance is that you have gotten involved, unbeknownst to you, with a corporation that was set up and designed and run by individuals who were raised with the mindset that the only way to get rich is to rip people off. Now, George, let's talk about the core founder, which is George Johnson Jr. His father, George Johnson, started his entrepreneur journey in the 40s. One of the first illegal regimes that person set up was a business called Rapid Cash, I think it was Cash America Advance. You can look at one of my other videos and see the exact name of that business. And that business model consisted of locations spread across the country that provided illegal and predatory payday loans. Now, the way that they morphed into going from payday loans to auto loans, the way that they did this was when they were doing their Rapid Cash Advance scheme, their Ponzi scheme, they were having a lot of problems debt collecting on the individuals they gave loans to. So they created this business model where they gave illegal loans, predatory loans, to hundreds of thousands of victims, and then they started debt collecting, trying to collect on that debt. That created a problem for them because now they're chasing people down to get paid. Now, this is where we get into garnished wages. Now, the reason why they decided to get into the auto industry was because they devised a master plan where they could stop having to debt collect and not have to deal with that side of the business, and they could get the government to be their debt collector. This is why they entered the auto industry. So George Johnson passed away, and his son, George Johnson Jr., became the head guy as far as how do we multiply the illegal and fraudulent wealth that the family has created. And George Johnson Jr. discovered auto loans. and they devised the plan to create American Credit Acceptance. Now, this business model is devised of a plan where 80 to 90% of the car loans that they give out are repossessed. American Credit Acceptance does not want you to pay off your car. When they repossess your car, they do not want to give you your car back, which is why a lot of you and a lot of our victims, our clients that are victims, get their cars repossessed and begin to try to negotiate to get their cars back. They find out that most of the time, American Credit Acceptance will agree to give the car back, but then renege on the deal. They'll tell the victim that they owe exorbitant amounts of money to get the car back, when in fact they only owe a couple months. As an example, one of our clients was behind 3 months. Her monthly payments were $250. So she was only behind about $750. When she tried to negotiate to get her vehicle back, they told her she had to pay around $2,000 to get her car back, which was more than her payoff for the entire loan actually was that remained. The reason why they did that is because, one, it's illegal, and they know it's illegal, but they do it anyways. They do that because they know that you people, you victims that are watching this video, will not fight them, okay? And that's why they do what they do. They don't want you to get your car back because they want you to get into repossession, and they want to auction your car. That's what they actually want. They don't want to deal with chasing you down every month to make your payment, because that takes administrative tasks. That takes administrative actions. Dealing with clients on collecting their monthly payments and chasing down clients to make their monthly payments costs money. They have to have administrative support staff to answer phones, make phone calls, send emails, and chase you down to get your payment. The more administrative people that they have in the company, the less profit they make. So they don't want to provide customer service. They don't want to have to provide customer service. They don't want to have to keep a whole team of people staffed that provide administrative support. For example, contacting you to find out when you're going to make your payment, or negotiating with you to give your car back. That costs money because it's administrative support. So their business model consists of putting you into a loan as fast as they can, and then auctioning your car, suing you for repossession, and getting a judgment against you to garnish your wages as fast as they possibly can. Because then when they repossess your car, it's basically a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit that takes place where they get a judgment against you. And the judgments are then turned into the local principalities and the federal principalities, where the government will literally go into your paycheck every week or every 2 weeks when you're paid and garnish your wages. That means they'll take forcefully the money out of your paycheck if you're a W-2 employee before the money gets to your bank account. That's called a garnished wage. When you attain a judgment against somebody through a lawsuit, repossession is an example, you can turn that judgment over to authorities, the local governments and the state governments and the federal governments. And because you have a judgment, a legal judgment, then the local principalities, the government, will then forcefully garnish your wages. That means they will go into your paycheck. If you're a W-2 employee, they'll go into your paycheck every pay period, and they'll take out a percentage of your money and give it to American Credit Acceptance. So if American Credit Acceptance has devised a way to get the government to be their debt collector through garnished wages, why on earth would they want to deal with you as a debt collector when they're having to manually collect the debt from you? So if you found yourself in a repossession or in a loan with American Credit Acceptance, You have to understand that their intention is to get you into repossession, sue you, get a judgment against you, auction your car, and then garnish all of your wages. They have been proven many times that when they garnish your wages, they deflate the amount of money you paid already. They deflate the amount of money that they auctioned your car for, and they inflate the amount of money that you owe them, putting that on your credit, and then garnishing your wages, getting more money than you actually owe. This is why they don't want to help you. This is why they intend for you to get repossessed. They will earn more money by repossessing your car, auctioning it, garnishing your wages, than if you paid your loan off. I want you to think about that for a second if you're watching this video. They will make more profit by repossessing your car, auctioning it, garnishing your wages, than they would if you actually paid off your loan. Does that make sense? I just want you to think about this business model. Okay? They want you to be in repossession. The records indicate that 85 to 90% of every loan that they give out is repossessed. That means that less than 10% of the loans that they give are successful. That 10% accounts for the times that they were sued and had to settle, the times when the person traded in the vehicle and the loan was paid off by the dealership because the vehicle was traded in. That means that less than 3% of the loans that they give out are ever paid off in full by the victim. That is called an unserviceable loan. That means they gave you a product that cannot be successful. You cannot pay the loan off. The reason why you can't pay the loan off, here's why, is because the vehicles that they're putting you in are minimum 3 to 4 years old with at least 80 to 90,000 miles on them. And because that vehicle's already aged and it already has high mileage, by the time you get to the end of the loan, the car's most often not worth anything and breaking down. Many of the victims that come to us for help indicate that the car was breaking down and breaking down and breaking down so much, and it took so much money to keep fixing it that they fell behind on their payments because they were doing maintenance on the vehicle. One example is a woman was sold this happened last year. She was sold a 2014 Chevy Malibu that had 120,000 miles on it. Her loan was for 3 years. A year and a half into the loan, she had to replace the transmission, which cost her $3,000. She then had to do other maintenance on the vehicle and was continuing to have to do maintenance on the vehicle. And it got so expensive to maintain the vehicle that she fell behind on her payments, and then they came and repossessed the car. This is the goal and the intention of American Credit Acceptance. Now, let's talk about the CEO, whose name is Jason Bynum, and his family. Now, Jason Bynum, his mom and dad have been in the predatory loan business for 50 years. Their website indicates that they've been in business for 50 years. They operate in the mortgage industry, and they've operated in the mortgage industry for, as they claim, 50 years. Jason Bynum was raised in that family. He was raised in that industry. He was taught by his mother and father how to construct illegal, fraudulent loans that are designed to cause people to fail so that they make more profit when you fell in the loan than if you actually paid the loan off. Jason Bynum's mother and father currently operate a predatory mortgage business where they put people in mortgages with high interest rates and adjustable term rates so that the person will intentionally get their home foreclosed on. So Jason Bynum and his family have been in the illegal loan operation business for collectively almost 60 years. That is why George Johnson Jr. appointed Jason Bynum to be the CEO was because he had so much family history with predatory evil loans that he knew that he could successfully operate American Credit Acceptance. You need to understand who you're working for. If you're watching this video and you're an employee of American Credit Acceptance, you need to understand who you are working for. And if you're working for American Credit Acceptance and you're an employee that's watching this video, you need to understand what you're doing to the American people by helping this company. They are destroying the credit worthiness of thousands of Americans. Now, you've learned a little bit about the founders. You've learned a little bit about the CEO. You've learned a little bit about garnished wages. You learned a little bit about their business model. My hope to you is this, is that if you are a victim of American Credit Acceptance, my hope is that you will reach out to us, sign our simple contract to become a part of our class action that we're building against them. My hope is that you will reach out to Chad Mayfield at the Michigan State Attorney's Office and join their class action. And my hope is that you will reach out to us and let us help you through your situation. Our service is completely free to you as a victim. Now, my other hope is that if you are an employee and you're watching this video, my hope is that you will go to the bottom of our website and fill out the form and do a secret testimonial video. Now, these videos aren't being published live. These videos are being kept for the court of law. We are looking for whistleblowers, people inside of the organization that will feed us documents, that will feed us stories, that will feed us testimonies that we can use in the court of law to get Jason Bynum and George Johnson Jr. arrested. We are looking to cross the corporate veil of civil law into criminal law. And in order to do that, we need testimonies, we need evidence, we need pictures of documents, we need email streams. Any inward documentation, any inward data that you could give us will not be shared with anybody else. It is secret and will never be revealed to anybody but the court of law. So if you're an employee, I urge you, please reach out to us. Help us shut this company down. If you're a victim, please let us help you. We don't charge $1. Our service is free. Reach out to us. This has been Joshua Crampton with Multigen Law. Shut down AmericanCreditAcceptance.com.